Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Cadre Concept. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Shane McGraw. Hello, Shane McGraw.
What's going on?
That sounds like a country western name, man. Shane McGraw. Do you sing country at all? In the middle of all your hip-hop and rap?
I don't have anything appropriate to say in response. I was going to make a reference to my wife's good-looking butt, but I can't do that. I do like country butts.
Yes.
Man, I've been thinking about this podcast, Chris, and I don't know. I've been listening to them back. Do you ever listen to yours back?
Yeah.
What an interesting research. I mean, because obviously I started this podcast with this idea that it was going to force me. I've always heard that the best students are the best teachers. And I really want to be a good teacher. You know, I really do. I want to be a good teacher because I feel like that's my calling. Jesus wants me to, I'm good at inspiring people. And so this Cadre Concept is like a formula that I have been working on forever for myself, right? For me.
Yeah. And
it worked. And I kept plugging into things. I used to take this little math. I visualize like a plug and an outlet. And I know it's simple, but a plug, like I spent so much time beating my head against the wall that I've shaped my pegs to fit. You know, I've figured out a formula that I know works, and maybe it's just for me.
Yeah.
But I feel like this overwhelming desire to kind of share it with others, and so I'm learning. Like, I really want to be a student of life.
Yeah.
I do, because I feel like the more I understand about things, the more I can kind of do what I do. You know, because I love to learn. I don't know about you, but when I grew up, I didn't have any precedence on learning. Like, no one gave me that model. I never really thought school was fun. I never really wanted to go to college or get a degree I never was given that. No one in my family had really done that, you know?
Yeah.
So I never had it. You didn't learn either. So I kind of fell in love with learning, you know, it's like, they're like my pseudo dad, you know, because I didn't have anybody to walk me through those moments, those things, those character builders that, you know, those roots, like those of us who are dads, like, I totally get it now.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Cause like I get to watch my son do things and I'm like, ooh, those are roots. So that's going to make a strong tree later on, you know?
Yeah.
And I get to be a dad and go, hey, let's make sure we see that was a root. Let me make sure that lesson sticks. You know, cause you're not really teaching them anything at some point. They're navigating life and you're helping them learn about what you already taught them, how it fits. Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's fun, and I've been learning a lot, books and stuff, and I came across this idea about a year ago of a book called Lead Like Jesus. And if you were to take the word Jesus out of it and read it, you'd be like, holy crap, every leadership inspirational book I've ever read, this book makes a case that the greatest leader of all time is Jesus. And he takes and he does a narration between the four gospels, and he tries to pull out all the components of Jesus walking the earth, you know, because if you believe in the Christian religion, you believe that he did not sin, and you believe he came and, you know, made a seat next to the people. There's this thing about, you know, God in the bod, like he came down and humbled himself and he walked amongst people and he did it in a certain way.
Yeah.
And so this author's named Ken Blanchard wrote a book called Lead Like Jesus, and inside of it he makes the case that he'd been an author for years and years and years. And inside of being an author, he taught it. He was a professor at colleges and universities his whole life, and he's spoken all around the world, and he's written 20 books all about leadership and different components of community and development and groups and how you can be a leader. And then he read the Bible and realized, holy crap, everything I've ever written was already in here in the example of this man.
Wow.
So then he did a study on it and said, here's all the leadership stuff that Jesus showed me as I did a study on his leadership. And wouldn't you know it, it's smarter than what I've ever written before.
Wow.
That was his thing. Wow. So I got addicted to this thing, and I've been like reading it and going, oh my gosh, leadership is such a cool concept, because Cadre Concept in its purest form is, you know, people working together, but they have to have their own leadership.
Yeah. It's good.
And lead themselves, and then they can work together with others, because, you know, broken people kind of break others. So there's this idea of like, you don't have to be not broken per se, but you have to accept the humility of getting better every day.
Yeah.
You know, because you're never not broken per se. We're all kind of buttheads.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
So that leads me to this concept I've been thinking about, and I think it'll be quick and timely. I could turn on my light. Is it not light enough in here?
I like it. I think your complexion looks great right now.
Thank you.
I think it's great.
So I built this big old huge system, and I built a spreadsheet. And what I was trying to do remember when I told you I built this equation to kind of serve myself?
Mm-hmm.
What I was trying to do is, from a business standpoint, I was trying to figure out how to mathematically approach, because that's how my brain works, is very tactical. What are the activities that I need to do daily that'll get me the result I want? And then could I just be the sum of those habits?
Mm-hmm.
So I started studying every book I could on habits, things that would make me the best version of myself, like getting up early and reading books and, working out, and then meditating kind of, and praying, and the Bible, and, having, not starting until 9 o'clock because you want to be, really, but you want to wake up early and give yourself that whole time. Everything I've ever read in leadership books kind of leads to this idea that you got to fill up your own tank before you can pour it out on others.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty, you read any book, they'll talk about like doing this work and this work, the head and the heart.
Yep.
And inside of the head and the heart, once you do that work, it'll start to show in your hands and your habits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It's good.
So I started on this journey to make this, and I made this little math equation. So I got this impact tracker I've been telling you about that I think literally will change anybody's life that touches it, because I've literally used it. And right now I'm injecting this philosophy into my insurance company, where we're saying, how do we serve people intentionally? That's the equation. And so it's like, with the right heart, with the right professionalism, with the right intention, how do you learn your trade well enough to influence other people to have the best, opportunity, to receive the best of your trade?
Right.
So in our trade, we're just going to take that formula and stick it into insurance. And my goal is that in 10 or so years, this county says, you know what I like? I call farmers, their insurance. I could be insured with anybody, but there's something about being part of a community of people who are all working together. Like, I feel like they got my back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that feels good. So I took my little formula that I learned in the mortgage space, and I pulled out all the tactics, and I stuck it on a piece of paper and said, if I did all these activities, man, we'd be super successful, because I've tested this for 6 years.
Yeah.
I refined these activities and realized these things lead to really, really strong business relationships. But somewhere along the line, I forgot to build real relationships.
Ooh, yeah. Ouch. Yep.
So it worked from a formula standpoint, but it was self-serving. And, I wasn't all selfish by any means, but when I look at the sum of it, I'm like, if there was a lesson to be learned, I think I was too far to the center of that story. I got to have the humility to accept that it's not about me. This whole world is not about me. Because that gives a little bit of, like, if you have that, it kind of plants a narrative that you get to embrace. It's a different narrative. If it's not about you, then you're not the main character of everything. You don't have to be offended all the time. Like, all the stuff that we talk about,
right.
This is this character development that I'm on.
Yeah.
And so I come onto this podcast with this idea of, like, what would it be like to build a community of people? And this is just one of my ways of communicating to this community.
Right. And
the community would be a bunch of people that are doing the work to be the leader, to employ the leadership that's in them. They're great work, they're important work. Because, Chris, a lot of the stuff that you talk about like getting going and the processes and philosophies you talk about. Yeah. One of the things that people miss in that is it requires community. Like, you can't do those without people. Yeah. Right. Yeah. What would it look like if we built a community of people that were coming in and tuning into this community that was filling up their tank? They were getting resources, making friends, connections, with a common thread, a common goal of having this abundant life, both horizontally and vertically, where I don't have to be ashamed that I make lots of money. I just have to be a good steward with all my blessings. Right. I mean, things need to flow through me, not to me. And I get to be okay that my passion is business. And, all my friends are kind of in the church space. I'm not, but I'm equally committed to the same mission. I'm just doing it from a different angle. Yeah. And I've learned that that's actually makes me special. And so I started thinking about what specific things do leaders need to do. So I went back to my system and I looked, and sure enough, these 5 things are the sum of everything you need to do to build strong relationships. And then I have an idea that it'd be kind of like a 5 by 5.
Yeah.
What's the Spanish word for 5?
I can't remember.
Cinco?
Cinco. Yeah. Cinco. Yeah.
So cinco by
de
cinco.
Mayo.
Cinco,
Yeah.
cinco. So if you had 5 things that leaders did
Yeah.
in order to have 5 core people that would help them both personally and professionally in all dynamics of life, some of them being stronger than other, like you may have more in common in business than you have in your hobby.
Right.
So you'll spend more time in the business quadrant of the 7 F's, right? But it won't necessarily mean, nobody's going to check every F for you. No one's going to be everything, all things for you. Right. That's actually not how it works. That's why you need a tribe. You need a group of, 3 to 7 people. And I would argue that you need a mentor in all 7 checkpoints, all the 7, abundant life. You need someone who speaks into your life. We've talked about that.
Yep.
Each one. Well, this particular one is about building a group of people, building that core of people that speak into your life. And a lot of people think a discipleship or a mentorship is one-sided. Someone goes in to get fueled up by the other. But anybody who knows anything about coaching or mentorship, the person serving gets the most out of it. Always. The old man, you know how much validation he gets and how much introspection he puts into that, giving that mentorship to that young man?
That's good.
He's taking all the wisdoms of his time and sharing them because it's making him focus on the things of abundance.
Right.
Because he has, you give a guy a cause, you give him something to hold on to, and man, it gets easier to get up in the morning. It gets easier to be part of something. It gets easier to, deal with the rights and the wrongs of things,
Yeah.
You got a bit of a mission. So the Cadre concept is like, guys, every one of us have a mission in us. Like every one of us do. And it's not really about money or work or even what you get paid to do. It's this quadrant of, what are you good at? What do you love? What does the world need? And can you get paid for it?
Right.
That's what we're all doing. We all have a purpose, a mission, every one of us. And now I think, what if this formula could be plugged into a mission like that, where I intentionally was arrows out. I intentionally was helping other people win. What were some of the things I do? So I narrowed it down to 5 things that I think everybody should do, both internally and externally.
Okay.
So I want to go down through them and kind of talk about each one. Is that cool?
Let's hit it. Yeah.
Okay. So invited to event. Do you invite people to do community? I think that's one.
So number 1 is invite people to do community?
Yeah.
Meaning like what? Invite them to hang out together or invite them to do work together or what?
Yeah, I would say 3 or more.
3 or more what? 3 or more people?
People together doing community.
Got it. Okay.
You could be, at everybody's house barbecuing.
Got it.
Could be whatever, but 3 or more.
Okay.
Ask for feedback, like seek wisdom, both practically and impractically. Like, hey, you ever had this happen to you? Or, man, dude, you got a minute. Both are okay.
Okay.
You can ask the stuff that says, hey, this is going on inside me. Could you speak to it? Because it would help me validate it because I trust you, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be like, man, I can't get my dog potty trained. You know when right?
Right.
Like, we need to ask for feedback. And I think men specifically, leaders specifically, any leader needs to learn how to ask for feedback.
Yeah. Number 2, ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. Okay. I like it. Yep.
Number 3 is schedule life together. And let's be intentional. It's not like, hey, how many people do you see? I'm on your Facebook all the time. People are always like, hey, we need to hang out, Chris. And you're like, let's do it. But I bet you 60% of those connections don't actually take place. They just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's just, that's the way it is. So how do you schedule life together? Be intentional about scheduling. Like, Chris, let's hang out next Tuesday. Well, if you're intentional about that, leaders, they schedule life together with people they're doing life with. Yeah. It's if you want to be a good dad, this is the leadership principle inside of being a father. You schedule time for your kids to be kids. And you can be a dad. That's why there's all this precedence on family dinners, because mom and dad are mom and dad and the kids are the kids. There's a rerouting there. Hey guys, we're a family. We're the head of this family. You guys are the kids. We want to hear your stories for the day. And you're going to run them by us because we're leading you in your character. Son, how did you feel about that? Oh, you didn't get that grade you wanted. Oh, let's talk about that. That's where you're sitting, having intentional scheduling of life together. Yeah. Beautiful. 4 is ask for help.
Got it. That's different than feedback.
Yeah. Ask for help is like, can you grab the other side of this?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It's a manual. It's an exchange of value or time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good distinction. An exchange of value or time. Ask for help. It's an exchange of value or time. Got it. Love it.
Money and time, value and time. I think it's right.
Yeah.
Ask for help because it's an exchange of value and time. And then introduce them.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Introduce them.
Introduce them. So good leaders introduce other people to good leaders because we realize when leaders work together, we get stuff done. So if I'm a leader, you're a leader. I know that I want to introduce you to my friends because when all my friends work together, we'll all be better. Like it's better. Like I have a buddy, his name's Kyle Duke, and he probably listens to these podcasts. So I hope, shout out to my boy.
Shout out to Kyle.
He's a good dude. He's one of those guys that it's just bold. I've seen him do some things that are super cool and I've got to watch him. And our friendship has never been, we always like encourage each other in the hall type of deal.
Yeah.
But we've had some moments, our wives are friends and, we're having kids. And so he's been in and out of my life we served in youth group for about 10 years. But I wouldn't say he's like in my inner circle where we hang out all the time, but I just because it's not that season, but I love him. So he just started his own plumbing company called Duke's Plumbing. And like, if I want to he's a leader. You should see what he's doing with his family and his community. He's a leader and I'm a leader. So how can we leaders inspire and work together with other leaders? I believe if you do these 5 things consistently, you'll win.
Yeah.
So looking at Kyle, he does a lot of this.
Yeah.
This is a leadership attribute that I now that I know it exists, not only do I understand what I get to do, but if I look and I watch people who I want to be like, they embody a lot of these things. You can see them. And here's what I believe. I believe all 5 of these things work in harmony. They're best used collaboratively.
Yeah.
But if you did any one of them habitually, it would impact your life.
Yeah. Hit me with them again. We just read through the 5 again.
Invite to event, invite to a community. This is 3 or more. Ask for feedback. How am I doing? That's what that means. That's what it then intends. Like, can you tell me can you take the temperature for me?
Yep.
Schedule life together. Be intentional about scheduling. Ask for help, meaning my back is hurting. Can you lighten the load with me?
Yeah.
And then introducing people, connecting people together.
Yeah. So good. And you were saying earlier, you can actually apply that then to the 7 F's.
Oh yeah, totally.
So yeah. So like if it's fitness, for example, you're like, hey, give me some feedback on my routine or give me some feedback on whatever you're observing. Like, hey, I noticed you like ate just 10 cookies just now or whatever. Or ask for help would be like, hey, listen, can you check in on me 3 times a week? Or can you come with me to the gym or something? I'm just trying to make these applicable.
No, you're doing a great job. I mean, that's what I would say. I think the rest of this conversation would look like is if a leader has these 5 F's in their tool bag and they recognize that this is both something that they get to do and embrace. Yeah. And then, but it's also they get to do with others and embrace. And when you recognize the 5 by 5, the cinco cinco, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's
something that happens where, let me give you a good example. Let's solve something. So say hypothetically, Chris, let's come up with something in business that would impact your business today. And we'll solve it using these 5s. So what's one thing that you would love to do this week that would impact your business? What's one connection or one business thing that you're looking to make? If you're looking for your perfect client, how would we find it right now?
I want to launch a new coaching program that has people who are looking to clarify their message. They want to clarify what it is that they have to say to the world. Because ultimately that's what leads into agency, this type of show stuff, right? But most people aren't ready for agency. They're not ready for a show and they need to figure out what their message for the world is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're equipped to do that. I could see that. I mean, if I were to join a team and someone who was trying to do something like that, I think I'd get on your team.
Yeah.
I'd follow you. I think you're a leader in that space. Would you? You're doing a lot of stuff that I think.
Yep. I have a track record for that. Yep.
You're qualified.
Yep.
Humbly qualified, right?
Of course.
You're a work in progress over there. Okay. So let's look. Let's see how we can do it. So If we have these 5S, we can think of both internal and external. So we can say we can invite to community.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were solving for this, you could launch a community thing. Hey, I want to get a whole bunch of people on here and just have a beta, a think tank. What would it look like if?
Yeah.
And then inside of that think tank, you could ask for feedback. Hey, here's the 7 or 8 things that I think would be cool.
Yeah.
Here's what I've been thinking. Here's some of my construct. I would love the core group of you people who are all leaders that I respect to speak into, am I heading in the right direction? Would you change anything? Like, here's 6 questions you could help me wrestle with as I launch this.
Right. Right.
And then some of them will go, oh my gosh, Chris, that message is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll schedule a life together with that person. So say there's 100 people in the room that you know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to schedule, let's just say 30 of those are going to reach out to us in some medium and offer feedback.
Yeah.
And then 10 of those are probably going to say, hey, can I be coached, or can I help you with this? Or, I have a tool in my tool bag that I'd like to offer in some way to do this together.
Right.
Right. Well, 10-3-1 philosophy, baby. I talk about it all the time. 10 people, 3 people will sit down with you and get involved, and 1 person will become someone you can work with at a high level.
Right. Yeah.
Now you host this a big event, which is great. You ask for feedback from everybody. You schedule some events. Hey, if anybody wants to do this, here's how you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You ask for help. Do you know anybody who could help me with this? And then you introduce them to each other as you're growing your community.
Nice. Yeah. Got it. Love it. Yeah.
So that's like a math equation for execution, for figuring out how to do something, but it's also a math equation. And think about the activity that'll be required. In order to put on an event, how many people you're going to have to call and get to know and talk to and rekindle, and those conversations where you see each other and you're like, do we need to hang out?
Right.
You got to make a lot of calls. So it kind of roots you in your activities for the day. It kind of gives you a,
yeah. Well, give me the, I like that. Give me the 5, it's 5 by 5. So I got the 5 things, like the 5 things that leaders do. What's the second 5? Is it 5 people?
The second 5 is 5 people.
Got it.
It's sorry, my wife was looking at my dog going, hi, doggy. We're training this little puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this little puppy is fun. So we're working together. Fun. So
Nice.
5 by 5, just a simple
5 by 5 with your puppy,
5
right?
things will help you develop 5 missional, like, ass-kicking relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll keep you valuable in attracting good people like that around you. Because I always say, if you're going to be involved in something, you got to get something from it and give something to it.
Right.
So as you start to build community and business, I mean, I would argue that if you had 5 to 7 businesses that totally believed in you, in your craft, whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
and they went out of their way to refer their buddies to you as their end mission, you would probably have critical mass in your business.
So this is, taking these 5 things, and like the people that we ask for feedback from are the 5 other businesses, or the 5 other people that we're sort of scheduling life with, doing, having community with, like that. And then, I mean, I'm kind of sort of drawing conclusions here, but that is a cadre. Like that becomes the root of a cadre. Yeah.
The roots. Yeah.
The roots.
We believe there's some levels of community. Mm-hmm. Starts out just open general community. Everybody fits.
Right.
And then, as you become more missional, more intentional, more clear on your objective, you start, less people fit in your box. It's not, has nothing to do with people who don't fit in. It's people who do.
Right.
It's not
right.
It's just people on the same wavelength. Right. And then you nail it down, but you do this by doing community. So I think that's why leaders have to understand that they need to be includers, including in the community, inviting people to come. Mm-hmm. If you're in a leadership role and you're doing it with your door closed, you're not leading, you're holding a position. Totally different. Yeah. If you're leading right now and you're in some level of leadership with anybody, whether or not you're a salesperson or an account manager or a nurse, if you're not asking the question to your peers and to your boss, how, can I do better? What's things I can grow on? Because, how are you supposed to know? Right. There's not a roadmap here. We got to listen to other people, but we got to listen to people who are the right kind. Yeah. Right? Right. And then, those leaders got to learn how to schedule life together. So, just think about it. If you're in a leadership position and you're not being proactive about connecting with other people, like, you're not leading. You've lost your way. And if you're not asking for help, I sincerely feel like the best way to grow is to learn how to ask people to help you. You know, and then receive help. You know, there's like the giver's way. You ever heard of that? Giver's game.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course, when you're doing this, you got to help build community. That's how this whole thing turns.
Right.
I don't know if this was long-winded or not, Chris, or
no.
Maybe this is 2 episodes. I don't know.
I think it's definitely at the heart of the things that you're inviting us to consider, right? In terms of growing our lives, not just businesses, but growing. Oh, I got some feedback on that.
You got feedback on the, what are you hearing?
Oh, I can just hear myself. It's so funny. Like,
I
can hear myself in stereo.
Well, did you sound as good on your side as you do on this side?
I hope so. Well, bring us home, Shane.
Yes.
How do people move forward with this concept? Like, if people want to check out more about the Cadre Concept.
Well, I decided, you know, I want to lead by example, or in a way where I'm just, people want to do life with, you know, and I want to do life with them. So my thought is this Cadre Concept could be a Facebook community. It could be whatever it is, and whatever tools we have in the world to use to be in a community. It's just people that are like-minded, you know, trying to do the best they can with whatever space, wherever they're planted. And I had this vision of little cadres everywhere where people are literally like, they get it and they start working together and they start having that harmony where everybody around them, you know, when rising tides raise all boats. And I just really believe that with this Cadre Concept, if people started looking at it arrows out and build little micro groups, they could really impact the world and themselves and their little communities. You know, it's these things are, it's interesting when you get people working in the same direction what we're all capable of doing, even if it's a small group of 100 people out of millions.
So
you know,
yeah.
So take my 5 things, wrestle with them, see if they fit you, or see how they work. And I think if you're a leader and you're doing these 5 things, you're probably someone who would be valuable to be part of. I mean, like if I was doing all these and I had this big following of people that knew, like, and trusted me, how valuable could I be to you, Chris? And how valuable could your services be to those people? And like, that's where we start working in this harmonic thing. Yeah. And I'm learning that, man, if you have your hands open, allow things to flow back and forth, and you just kind of work earnestly in every environment, things get a little easier. It's not that the mistakes don't happen and that you don't drop the ball. I mean, dude, yesterday was a day for me. I was like frustrated. I got home to my wife and I tried to tell her about my day, and I had to kind of stop and take a little walk. So I was frustrated, you know? And then, you know, today I get to wake up and I'm like, whew, okay, leaders do these 5 things. And one of them is not that whining version of me yesterday. Right?
Nice.
So, all right, buddy. Well, I just think that's a fun topic for people. If we're going to try to build community, we got to have vulnerability, and we got to subscribe to this idea that, you know, we're going to do life together. I just see the Cadre Concept being that. And I intend to make products, resources, tools. You know, we got this abundant life test we've made where it's like, ask you a bunch of questions in 7 areas just to kind of get a measurement of like, where are you? And then it rolls right into this like goal planning thing that I've been doing for 5 years that I'm now giving it away to people for free. Yeah. All you got to do is just go to Cadre Concept and lean into that chapter, and then they'll get to learn how to build all that. And that to me is super cool, because if you don't know where you're at in your fitness, you know, if you were to know every one of those things and improve on just one in every area, just think what you can do.
Yeah. It's good, man. So you guys can get the assessment at cadreconcept.com, right?
Yeah. Go there, hang out with us, like us on Facebook. I mean, I hope you subscribe to these podcasts, but I think if our community is big enough, the right people will watch and the wrong people won't. It's just more about building a community where we're kind of having some fun. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff, Shane.
All right.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing today. See you next time.
Okay.